Hi, this session is a lunge mobility flow session. So we're going to be working asymmetrically, which means we're going to be working on stability and balance for each side whilst trying to strengthen and mobilize the area, predominantly the hip area. And we'll also be working on the ankles. When we're in these positions, we'll also be working up through our torso, up our lats, and also into the shoulder area, working on a little bit of thoracic twisting and rotation. Great, let's get going. We're going to start relatively easily. So we're going to take a step forward with our right foot, making sure we've got enough of a distance between both our feet, and then also enough width here. So if we've got width, we've got stability. So as we exhale, we're slowly going to work our left knee down towards the mat, bending our right knee, trying to keep our torso nice and upright, maybe moving that left foot out as we go. It's going to be working that toe area as well for 3, hovering off the mat for 2, for 1, slowly dropping that knee towards the mat. I'm going to untuck my left toes, but you can keep them tucked if you prefer. So making again sure we've got enough width between our feet, hands on the hips, really trying to drive those hips forwards and drop those shoulders. So our shoulder blades are nice and low on our back, keeping our head upright, sort of in parallel to the front of the room. From here, we're just going to throw our hips through slightly forwards, maybe adjusting our right foot. So keeping a nice sort of box shape in between our legs. Throwing those hips forwards, keeping that rib cage tucked in for 3, for 2, for 1. We're feeling a nice pull down this left side of the body. When the next inhale, we're going to take our hands up towards the ceiling, reaching up nice and tall. And if we can, we're going to take those arms either side of our ears. If we find that as we draw our arms back, we have to extend our spine, just stop when your arms start to impact your back position. So you might have your hands here, or they might be up either side of your ears. If they are, just reach forwards, reach upwards, nice and active in the hands for 3, keep breathing for 2, for 1. Good. Placing both your hands down on your hips now. Lifting your right hand up, really lengthening up here. So feeling the right hand side of your body, reach up towards the ceiling. Take your gaze up to that hand if you can. Try to lengthen out for 3, for 2, for 1. If you can, now we're going to hinge over towards the left hand side of the room. Really working that right hand side of the body for 3, for 2, for 1. Noticing I'm not pulling forward or leaning too far back. Up we go. Taking our right hand to our right hip, lifting that left hand up. Again, once the ceiling, really reaching up, feeling a nice pull right from the armpit all the way down the side of the body, the hip, right down to the knee, keeping that balance, keeping that stable base, reaching up for 2, for 1. If you want to use your breaths, when you next exhale, hinging over towards the left hand side of the room, really working on the psoas muscle here for 3, for 2, for 1, slowly releasing that left hand down towards the hips. Taking our right foot out in front of us now and dropping our hips towards the mat. Again, noticing that I'm not twisting in or out here. I've got my hips as square as I possibly can and my knees stacked on top of my ankle. So I've got a nice vertical femur here, also tibia here and fibia, so shin bone all the way up towards the ceiling. I'm just resting on my knee here and I'm just going to do a couple of little circles to try and loosen off this left hip area. Taking my hands down to the floor if that is accessible. So from here, if it's not a comfortable position, maybe just keeping your hands on that top leg or getting a chair or a prop to help you with that position. So in this position, I'm going to be leaning really far forward as we can. And then I'm going to take my right hand, pop it in the inside of my right hip. If I've got my hands on the floor, my left hand is directly below my left shoulder. I'm going to push my right hip out towards the floor. Notice that my foot is coming onto the outside, so the sole of my foot is exposed. For 1, for 2, 1 more, for 3. Keep breathing. So adopting that nice position once again. So taking both your hands down towards the center of the mat, if that's accessible, otherwise onto your knee. And first of all, we're going to drop our left hand to the centre of the mat, and we're going to slowly lift our right hand up towards the ceiling, elbow first, reaching up, dropping that right hand down towards the left hand, and then lifting the hand up, maybe extending that hand a little bit further, rotating down, keeping control in the lower half of the body and the torso, and then finally holding at the top in our extension position, whatever that looks like, for 3, keep breathing, for 2, for 1, slowly dropping the right hand to the mat, switching hands. So again, we're finding a bit of stability here. You might need to knock that right knee out a little bit. If you need to come out of it, just wiggle out of it and then push back in. Left side, so bring the elbow up towards the ceiling, dropping that hand down towards the right hand. Once again, extending a little bit further, dropping the hand down towards the right hand, and then up for 3, keep breathing, for 2, for 1, slowly lower that left hand towards the floor. Pushing our bottom back, extending this front right leg, toes on the mat to begin with. We're really feeling a pull from our ankle all the way up our shin to our knee. It's also going to be pulling on your hamstring. If you need to bend that knee, do so. And we're just going to pulse for 3, 2, 1. This time now we're going to lift up our toes, really add a little bit of tension down on the calf and the Achilles. If you'd like to sit back on your left foot, do so. Otherwise, stay in that upright position for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. From here, we're just going to keep this leg out long and we're going to twist our bodies round towards the side, feeling a nice pull on the inside of the groin, the adductor. I'm going to tap my left toe so it's a little bit more comfortable here. I'm just going to move back and forth for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. From here, I'm just going to walk my body all the way around, keeping my leg in place. This time going onto my toes. And you can see I've got my left toes tucked, really working on that toe mobility and ankle mobility. My right toes tucked. I'm really going to push my heel back towards the back of the room for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Come back onto your knees, maneuver around into your position to go on the other side. So I'm going to stay facing this side. I'm going to take my left foot out in front of me, coming into that nice dragon position. So we've got a nice square here. This bone here, or this part of my leg, is nice and vertical up towards the ceiling. I've got my hips facing forwards, my shoulders are nice and low, my rib cage is tucked in. For 3, for 2, for 1. Taking those hands up towards the ceiling and reaching nice and tall. If you can get those arms back, watch that rib cage, watch that lower back. For 3, for 2, for 1. Hands to the hips. This time we're lifting our left hand up towards the ceiling, reaching nice and tall. Feel a lift coming from the sort of side of your torso. Taking your gaze up towards that left hand for 3, 2, 1. When you're ready, hinging over to the side. Just be mindful about where your torso is. We want to do a lateral hinge. So not moving that body forwards or backwards, coming up to a nice upright position, dropping that left hand, lifting that right hand up towards the ceiling, taking a nice long breath here, reaching tall for 2, for 1, and then when you next exhale, hinging over towards the left hand side of the room now. Trying to keep that torso nice and tight, keep breathing, keep that stable base through your knees and your feet for 2, for 1, slowly coming up, dropping that right hand to the right hip, walking that left foot out now. And again, just finding your position. You might need to widen that stance, moving around, feeling nice and comfortable, I hope, for 3, for 2, for 1. I'm going to place my right hand on the floor, but again, if you need to, find a chair, find a wall. Taking my left hand to the inside of my left leg, and I'm going to slowly move that left leg out. So what we did on the first side, Place my hand down. So for 3, really feel it on the inside and the outside of the thigh. For 2, moving that out. For 1. Good. From here, we're just going to keep our leg nice and long and the back. Place your hands in the middle of the mat or on that knee. And first of all, we're going to place our right hand in the center of the mat, lifting that left elbow up towards the ceiling, coming into a thoracic twist. Exhale as we drop, place that left hand on top of that right hand. Inhale up, maybe extend a little bit further. Exhale down. Then final one, we're going to hold. For 3, for 2, really reach up. For 1, good. Switching over. This is a bit harder to get all the way around, but just go with how you're feeling. So left hand in the center of the mat. Lift that right arm up. Exhale down. Use your breath so that's comfortable for you. Inhale up to a variation of extension. Drop down. And final one, holding at the top. For 3, for 2, for 1. Dropping all the way down. Right hand on the left hand. Good. Walking your bottom back towards your right foot now. Remember planting your toes to begin with on this one. If you need to be upright or against a wall, do that. You should be feeling a nice pull in your shin area and also all the way down that back leg. Slowly, once we've been there for a little while, we're going to push back onto our heels, or we might be upright, but we're going to lift our left toes towards our shins. For 3, maybe moving around if that's comfortable. For 2, for 1. Good. Walking our hands round in front of us, allowing that left leg to go out wide to our side. So really pulling on our adductors, the inside of the groin, and also maybe pinching on the outside of our left hip. And again, pushing back. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Walking our hands round once again. Tucking our right toes, you can see that position as if we're just about to set off on a sprint. Tucking those left toes, pushing the left heel back. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Slowly bring that left knee into the right knee. You can either come to a nice standing position by yourself, or you can try this mini challenge. So I'm tucking my toes, I'm walking my hands back, coming onto my toes, engaging my core and slowly standing up. You can drop your heels as you come up. It's up to you and how you feel. Good. Last little challenge. So we can shake out the legs. We're nicely warmed up, nicely mobilized. We're going to come into some Cossack squats or variations of. So I'm going to come to one side of the area that I'm working in. I'm taking a nice controlled step out with my right foot, as wide as I can go. And then just sort of coming to a nice angle here. So it might be that you want to start with your feet relatively close, or it might be that you're feeling really confident, you want to go a bit wider. Try not to go into splits just yet, because you do need to have some movement to track your knees out. So you can either have your feet facing forwards, or maybe at 1 o'clock and then 11 o'clock. Try and avoid going too wide at the stage. So we're going to come down into our sort of variation of a squat. So I've got my feet slightly turned out. I'm slowly going to lower down towards my right hand side of the body. For 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly coming back up with control. The control is the key bit. If you find yourself losing control in the bottom, don't go as deep. Other side. Let's warm it up. For 3, for 2, for 1. We're going to do it again. The same thing. Try and watch where your torso is. We don't want our torso tracking all the way down towards the floor. We want to try and sit upright as possible, pushing our bottom back. For 2, for 1. Last one before we go into our quick succession. For 3, for 2, for 1. All right, so coming back up, preparing yourself, throwing your hips forward. We're going to go deeper. We're going to do a low crossover, and then we're going to do that a couple of times. So when you're ready, coming down as deep as you feel comfortable to go. Don't overstretch this area. It's very easy to pull this area. Just go so you feel a nice little pull. For 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly transitioning, keeping yourself as low as you can. You might need to come up into the other side for 3, for 2, for 1. Same again, last 2. Nice and low. For 3, for 2, for 1. As low as you can go. Nice and controlled. For 3, for 2, for 1. Coming back nice and slowly, keeping that hip in a nice strong position, heel toeing in just a little bit, and then stepping your legs forward. Last little bit to stretch off the inside, or now stretch off the outsides because you're on the inside. So we're going to take our right foot behind our left foot, lengthen our legs, have our legs touching all the way down, and then slowly push our bottom back, hips out. For 3, 2, 1. Coming up, other side, so left foot behind the right foot. If you need to spend a bit longer in these positions, do so, but don't overhold it, like a few seconds, maybe dynamic movements. Coming into this deep position, so dropping our torso, hinging from the hips here. For 3, for 2, for 1. If you want to roll up vertebrae for vertebrae, feel free to do so. Otherwise, it's the session finished. Shake out those legs. So the key thing here is with any sort of lunging motion, you want to have control. So if it means you slowing it down or taking off some weight, if you're doing weighted lunges, that's really where you're going to build your strength, your stability, and your balance. If you've got that as a good foundation, then actually that's going to carry you off really well for any activities you're doing. You know, things like running is a really good example. If you're able to do lunges in a controlled manner, you're going to be much stronger in this area here, which actually is responsible for a lot of little niggles. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's session, and hopefully I'll see you on my next session. Thanks so much. Bye.